So that's why I'm going to deal with this lesson today. The title is Jesus is that prophet. And this is a lesson that shows that you don't have to take the New Testament's word about Jesus. You don't even need the New Testament to know about Jesus. And a lot of people to this day still have a problem with that. But like I said, some of the old Hebrew brothers, they couldn't stand it in here. They would have had a fit with the two songs that was sang. Because they were singing about Jesus and, just because they have a problem with the New Testament. And some of them came around a little bit and started saying, well, we believe in a Messiah, but we just don't believe his name is Jesus. So they still got a problem. They don't want to hear every time you say Jesus, oh, you calling on a pagan God. No, we calling on Jesus, testified, the one that the prophet spoke about. That's right. But they want to get caught up in something small like a name, and they can't even come to a conclusion on what name to use anyway. And I keep telling them they don't speak Hebrew anyway. So it don't matter what you call yourself saying, you not speaking the original language anyway. The people that's calling themselves speaking in Israel, who you getting everything from, they not speaking Hebrew. That's why when they find some old original Hebrew, they can't even read it. They just found some recently. Matter of fact, it was about a year ago, they found some documents buried in some hole, and it took them about a year to decipher. They were saying, well, we think this means this and this means this. Wasn't nothing but a few sentences. They couldn't figure it out. And they finally related it that it had to be Hebrew because certain letters that they found and the way it was worded, it was only worded in Hebrew. So, people get caught up on little small stuff and they missing the whole picture. And the fact of the matter is, Jesus was announced throughout all of the Old Testament. But we're not going to really focus on that so much. We're going to focus on one of his titles that was mentioned in the Old Testament, and that is that prophet. Because I was dealing with a brother maybe 2 weeks ago. He's an old school Hebrew out of Cincinnati somewhere. He was saying that he's trying to show us that Jesus is counterfeit. He's a counterfeit. So he was talking to people. So finally, I just asked him one simple question, because I know how to deal with these old school Hebrew. I don't even read the New Testament, even though he reads the New Testament, but he don't believe in it. He's just trying to show something wrong with it. But I just go straight to the Old Testament on him. And I asked him one simple question. I said, well, if you think Jesus is a counterfeit, who is the Messiah or that prophet spoken of in the Old Testament? Who is it? Since you believe in the Old Testament, Jesus is a counterfeit, so you say, well, who is the Messiah that prophet spoken of in the Old Testament? He couldn't even answer. The only thing he come back and said, he said, well, what? Give me the verse. What Messiah? Give me the verse and chapter. You talking about the Messiah. See, he thought I was going to read something in the New Testament. Now I hit him with Daniel, the first scripture. We're going to read Daniel 9. I said, this Messiah, Daniel 9:25, the Messiah. Mm-hmm. Okay. His next answer was, well, when did he die, sir? I said, man, I'm asking you. I'm thinking, you know all this since you kicking on Jesus. But he couldn't answer. He didn't say nothing else after that. I said, well, I thought you knew, since you knew it wasn't Jesus. I thought you might have knew who the Messiah, because they never thought past that. They want to kill Jesus and make him illegitimate, but then again, they don't have a clue who is he then? Right. And we used to hit them with that all the time, those old school Hebrews in the old days. We asked them, well, who is he then? Some of them went so far to say, well, it's really talking about the whole nation of Israel. Well, you can't go to Psalm where David talked about he was going to get his feet in his hands. They pierced his feet in his hands. The whole nation got their feet and hands pierced? No. It don't make no sense. But he all over the Old Testament. They just don't know that. So we're going to deal with this today. Jesus is that prophet. And we're going to start off in Daniel 9:24. Jesus is that prophet. See, the Bible lets you know everything was told before you even got to the New Testament. That's why the people in the New Testament days, they was preaching out of the Old Testament. Daniel 9:24. Go ahead.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy.
Okay, now we ain't dealing with the 70 weeks. We got a lesson to deal with that. But that's the time span that the Lord gave to complete everything. And a lot of stuff had to happen in this time span, which is really 490 years. But what we want to focus on is at the end of that 24th verse, he said, and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. So then again, since people got a problem with Jesus, who is this most holy that got to be anointed then? Right. And notice, if you being anointed, somebody got to be doing the anointing, right? And who else could anoint somebody called the most holy? See, somebody named the most holy is being anointed in. But people don't understand it. Go ahead, verse 25.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince.
Oh, wait a minute now. See, they think it's only reference in the New Testament about the Messiah, which what the Greek word for that is Christ. They have a problem with that. Oh, you saying Christ. What's the difference, man? What's the difference if I say shalom or if I say peace? Do I got to say shalom? Don't peace mean the same thing? They don't have to understand it. So he said, from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince. See, and what do Messiah mean? What do Christ mean? It means what it said in verse 24, the anointed one. See, this guy had to come. The whole Old Testament is telling you about this guy. So we just got to recognize him when he comes. That's what it means. That's what Messiah means, the anointed one. So he said it's going to be, he even gave you a timetable when he was going to come, and that happened exactly around the time when Jesus walked this earth. From approximately 4 to 6 BC to when he died in approximately 30 AD. That's what these years took you to. We're not dealing with that, but he said at verse 25, it's going to be a time period to get you to unto the Messiah, the Prince. Finish that verse.
Shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
See, that started in Ezra and Nehemiah times. They had troublous times trying to take care of business to restore things in the promised land. Troublous times. They was building on the wall and had a sword in the other hand. But go ahead, verse 26.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
Wait a minute, now then they got a problem with Jesus dying. Oh, if he was somebody, he wouldn't have died. Your Old Testament tell you he had to die. He had to be cut off. Oh, you know, see, if he was special, if he was so great, he wouldn't have died. Look, that's part of the plan. He had to die. He had to be a sin offering for Israel first and the rest of the nation. He had to do that. So it said after a certain time, because he had to come, and then it said, shall the Messiah be cut off? He had to be killed. For who?
But not for himself.
No, he wasn't cut off for himself. You read Isaiah, it tells you why he was cut off, for the transgression of God's people. Well, go ahead.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined.
See, and he let you know how it was going to wrap up, that the city was going to get destroyed again after the Messiah came and got cut off, which took place in approximately 70 AD when the Romans surrounded the city. All of this was prophesied before it happened. That's how we know the God of the Bible is the God.
Praise the Lord.
But now, let's go to the New Testament. Go to John, the 1st chapter. John, the 1st chapter. Because people have a problem with the Messiah, with Jesus being the Messiah, but they ain't never thought to figure out, well, who is it then? Well, show me who it is. Because we still need to know. I guess you're going to be like the Edomites. At least they got enough sense to say they still waiting on him to come. They're going to kick on Jesus, but they got enough sense to say, well, we waiting on the Messiah to come. He haven't came.